Okay, welcome back to the Spot Hockey Show. It's been a while since I've done a solo video like this, but lots has happened over the past, I don't know, a week or so. I'm going to go over a few things. Obviously, there's been some other things happening while setting up for this video, so I may do a little cut at the end and then add on a few things. This may be a bit of a longer one, but either way, I just wanted to get into a few things. First things first, one of the more interesting things to me is Matias Machelli being traded to the Toronto Maple Leafs via the Utah Hockey Club, or I guess now the Utah Mammoth. I'm going to have to get used to saying that. I actually think this is a great trade. Obviously, as everybody knows, Marner is going to be leaving the Toronto Maple Leafs pretty shortly here. I'm going to be getting into that, the tamper issues, all those sort of things later on, what my opinion is, and then also just leave it out in the open for everybody to look at some of the facts and come to their own judgment call. Either way, though, so Matias Machelli is going to be moving teams. Obviously, with the departure of Mitch Marner, they are going to need some help on the wing. I actually really like this move. I've been a big fan of Matias Machelli for quite a while. He was a third liner for the majority of the year in Utah. Had a bit of a down year last year and the year before. So anyways, I'll get into that. So last year in Utah, 55 games played, so not a full season, obviously. 8 goals, 10 assists for 18 points. Was a minus 13. Utah was a decent team last year, but not the greatest at keeping the puck out of their own net. So how much of that is Matias Machelli's fault? Who knows? That being said, team that recently went from Arizona to Utah, I think they have a bright future in front of them, obviously, Utah. That being said, though, Machelli going to the Toronto Maple Leafs, I think, is going to be great. I am a fantasy guy. I do a lot of regular season hockey fantasy stuff, so I will be more than likely trying to pick up Matias Machelli in the later rounds. I think he's going to be a great bargain pickup for your 6th, 7th round where you don't really know who to pick. There's nobody really around. Matias Machelli is somebody that I'm going to be looking at that could end up having a great bounce-back season with the Toronto Maple Leafs, possibly playing on that first line, more than likely playing on that second line. And yeah, very interesting. So obviously year before, 82 games, 17 goals, 40 assists for 57 points, and the year before that was the big one. Obviously didn't play a full season, only 64 games, but 11 goals, 38 assists for 49 points in 64 games is pretty big. So yeah, I think he's got all the tools to be a close to point per game player, especially in Toronto, given correct utilization and correct line mates. I think it's going to end up being a great trade for them. So Matias Machelli is at the end of his contract. This upcoming year is going to be his last year on this contract. So currently he's making $3.425 million. He will be an RFA at the end of the year. Obviously, he's 25 years old, so not going to be a full UFA by the end of this year. I think that also plays into the hand of the Toronto Maple Leafs. I don't know what the return is as of yet for Matias Machelli, but yeah, I think it's a great trade all in all. Decently low cap hit. You've got some control on how much you're going to pay him. The fact that he will stick around no matter what. You can qualify his RFA rights, keep him around. If he ends up not having a fantastic year next year, you can look to move him as an RFA. That being said, though, I think if you can sign him somewhere within next year, maybe at the end of next year, for a slight raise over what he's making right now. We'll have to see what he does next year, obviously, because if he has a fantastic year, if he's close to a point per game, he's going to be getting a pretty substantial raise. So that's why I think they'd be better off to sign him sooner rather than later, in my opinion. Sign him to a decent ticket, if he's even willing to sign right away, and get him locked up decently long term, probably a 4-year deal. I'm thinking 4 years at $5.5 million now would make a lot of sense. And then after that, see what happens. But yeah, no, I like the trade a lot. He's not the biggest guy in the world, 5'11", 185, nor was Marner. If you're looking to fill that spot, I don't really think you need size on that left wing. Just anything on that left wing right now, because it is looking a little bit sparse, obviously, for the Leafs, is a good thing. He's young. He's shown that he can do some good playmaking. He's obviously not the biggest goal scorer, but he can score. His career high in the NHL, 17 goals, but that was for an Arizona team that was struggling last year. So, yeah. Okay, so some more news has come out. Sorry about the cut there. Matias Machelli to Toronto for a conditional third-round pick. Can't find the conditions right now, obviously, or else I'd have those up on screen. Regardless, though, a third for a guy that is this young, that has this much upside, is pretty insane. I like this a lot. Utah's done a good job in picking up guys, moving guys, depending upon what their needs are. I think this might end up biting Utah. That being said, though, I don't know for sure. Utah's got a lot of cap space. I'm not super worried about them. Regardless, so next up, this is a little bit of an odd one to me. So Vladimir Terasenko has been traded to the Minnesota Wild for future considerations. Minnesota is a team that's kind of on the cusp. Obviously, they made the playoffs last year. They had a great year last year, off of the back of Kaprizov mostly. So I think the thought process here, you get a fellow countryman in, you see what those two can do together. That being said, Terasenko last year definitely had an off year. So last year with Detroit, obviously, 80 games played, 11 goals, 22 assists, 33 points. Not what you're looking for from a guy that is making $4.75 million. Obviously, at the end of his contract, he is 34 years of age. It's a relatively low risk move, I guess. Minnesota has their cap space this year, just by way of the buyouts from Parise and Suter, the penalties of those ending this year. So they've got a little bit of cap space. I believe they ended this year. Don't quote me on that. So it's a low risk, low reward kind of move. It doesn't really make much sense to me. I think that Tarasenko's on the latter half of his career. I don't think he's going to be a large producer. That being said, Minnesota has a lot of cap space. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, you just sit him on your third line, and they've got enough cap space that it isn't an issue. I just think Detroit kind of came away from this pretty good. The fact that they didn't have to retain on Tarasenko, and the fact that they get that money off the books for... Obviously, they didn't make anything in return. It's for future considerations, but I think the cap space that they are given now is worth more than any picks that they could have gotten. Obviously, if you're going to take on Vladimir Tarasenko's full contract, you're not going to be paying any picks. I don't know who in the right mind would do that. I honestly really thought that Detroit would have to sweeten the pot to move Tarasenko in the end. I thought they were going to have to add a pick, maybe a low-end prospect, something like that to move his contract. But no, able to move him just as is for future considerations. Well done, I guess, Stevie Y. I haven't been saying that a lot over the past couple of years. I've sort of lost faith in him, but this one is kind of decent. We'll see what they do with Hull and Shabbat. And JT Compher. There's a few iffy contracts. I like JT Compher. I just think he's getting paid too much. Kopp as well. There's a lot of not great contracts in Detroit, so moving this one off kind of sweetens it a little bit. 33 years of age. He's a big body. He has shown that he can score. A type of guy that's never really achieved the amount of goals that you'd be looking for out of him. His career best is 40 goals in St. Louis. Obviously, he's a career St. Louis Blue player, aside from the last 4 years. He's just sort of been bouncing around the league. Obviously won the Cup last season with the Florida Panthers. And yeah, we'll see how this works out. Like I say, low risk, low reward, in my opinion. Kind of a confusing move, but hey, you get somebody that could bounce back. Who knows what happens? So next up, this is a pretty big one for me. Matthew Knies signs a 6-year extension, so we're going to be seeing a lot of shorter-term contracts, obviously, for younger players, just by way of the cap more than likely exploding, or not even more than likely, it is going to explode over the next coming years. So 7.75 million over 6 years. I think that's a pretty great contract. I think if you can get this guy locked up for 6 years at that cap hit with the cap going up, and him already showing how great of a power forward he is, how he's willing to get pucks out of terrible areas for the skilled players on the Leafs. Along with that, him showing his skill also. He is a very skilled player, underratedly skilled. So, yeah, 22 years of age as of right now. He's 6'3", 225, big body for his age. He has shown this year that he has the ability to score 30. So that contract, honestly, like looking at Brock Besser, more than likely what he's going to be making this year. Brock Besser's older, he's slower, and he has less tools. He's not as big. Brock Besser's probably going to be looking at 8.5, 9. That seems very high to me, but if that ends up happening, I wouldn't be shocked. And obviously, Nice doesn't have the track record of Besser. That being said, though, Besser hasn't really scored. He didn't really score that much this past season. Year before, obviously, Besser had a very good year. But getting this guy locked up, scoring the same amount of goals as Besser for 2 million, possibly, or $1 million, possibly less than he's going to be making is pretty sweet. So I'm happy with this for sure. Mark Barzell or Matthew Nyes, Matt Barzell. We can get into that video later. Matthew Nyes, 7.75 million. This contract's going to expire when he's 28. So in the prime of his career, he's going to be a UFA. He's going to get paid if things work out well for him. I really like this contract for both the Leafs and for him. It means that he's going to be a UFA in the prime of his career. Hopefully, looking to make a lot more money off of that. It's I think a great pick. Claude Giroux, obviously, staying in Ottawa. There was rumors throughout the entire offseason that he was going to be sticking around, so no real surprise here. The cap hit's nice and low, which is good for Ottawa. They're going to be looking to make the playoffs again this year. They're probably going to be looking to make a couple moves during free agency. I just hope they don't overpay for anybody. That being said, they don't really have that much cap space to overpay in general. Claude Giroux last year, pretty decent season. I mean, he is getting older, so he's 37 years of age. He's 5'11", 188, not the biggest guy in the world, but good veteran presence in that locker room. Great for the young team that the Ottawa Senators have right now. So 81 games played, 15 goals, 35 assists, 50 points. Great point totals for a guy that's 37. You're not looking for too much out of him, and he has looked good so far in Ottawa. Obviously, played 3 seasons there. He more than likely won't get close to that first year in Ottawa, where he had 82 games played, 35 goals, 44 assists, 79 points. That was a fantastic season. And he's managed to stay healthy in Ottawa. There was some concerns from a few people that I was listening to back before the Ottawa Senators acquired him, that he wasn't going to be able to stay healthy. As you can see here, he's had a few seasons in the NHL for the Flyers that he wasn't able to stay healthy the entirety of the year. He's been able to do that so far, barring one game last year that he missed. So, I like this contract a lot. Obviously, he's going to be making $2 million for a year. This contract will end when he's 38 years of age. That shores up their center position. You keep him around. Ottawa has now $8 million to play with. That's a decent amount of cap space. It's not a crazy amount with the contracts that I'm expecting and a lot of people are expecting to see signed in this free agent class. I think there's going to be some wild contracts. Luckily, Bennett's off the books, because I was very nervous that a team that I cheered for was going to pay Bennett $10 million, $9.5 million, something like that, for a guy that's career high in points is 56 points, something like that this past year. A lot of money. I mean, he's good in the playoffs, but if you're a team that's on the outside looking in, you don't pay a guy that's only good in the playoffs or only really good in the playoffs that amount of money. I don't think that makes much sense. Either way, yeah, I like this Claude Giroux signing. Low cap hit, obviously team-friendly deal. He's at the latter half of his career. He likes it in Ottawa, clearly. Just wants to stick around, see if they can make the playoffs, see if they can make a bit of a run. And I wouldn't be shocked if Ottawa does make a little bit of a run. Obviously, there's some performance bonuses tacked onto this contract. So $250,000 if he plays 20 games, another $250,000 if he plays 30 games, another $250,000 if he plays 60 games, $250,000 if they make the playoffs and he plays 50 games, $500,000 if they win round 1, $250,000 if they win round 2, $500,000 if they win round 3, and another $500,000 if they win the Stanley Cup. So I think you can expect him to be getting that $700,000 just from the regular season games played. We'll have to see how much he makes off of the playoff signing bonuses. Probably not a lot. I'm not expecting a lot out of the Ottawa Senators in this year's playoffs, but I'd like to be pleasantly surprised. I was never a huge fan of the Ottawa Senators, but their current core makes me excited for the future of that team. Yeah, so John Gibson traded to Detroit. A little bit confusing for Detroit. They have a lot of goalies. I mean, I'd love to see John Gibson do well in Detroit and be the reason why they actually make the playoffs. But they got a lot of goalies. Anyway, so Peter Mrazek is going the other way to the Ducks, along with a second and a fourth. John Gibson obviously lost his starting role for the Ducks this past season via Dostal's great play. Dostal is the future for the Ducks, clearly. I'm a big fan of Dostal. He's a good goalie. And yeah, so John Gibson last year, 29 games played, 912 save percentage, very good save percentage for a guy that is 31. Oh, he's actually only 31. I always forget how young John Gibson is. He's been around for so long, I always assume he's like 35, 36. No, he's only 31. I'm very curious why the Edmonton Oilers didn't try to pursue him more than they ended up doing. I know he's making a lot of money, but you move some contracts off the books and maybe see about getting him in. Anyways, regardless. See how he does in Detroit. Like I say, making $6.4 million for 2 more years. He's going to be 33 by the time that contract expires. He's a good goalie. Like I say, he just lost his starting role for the Ducks this past year just by way of Dostal's great play. So yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with John Gibson. The return is pretty decent for the Ducks. Mrazek is obviously going to be the backup behind Dostal, a second and a fourth. If the Ducks are on the outside looking in, coming close to the trade deadline, I would assume they'd be looking to move Peter Mrazek off of that team. But regardless, yeah, it's not too bad. Once again, shocked that the Edmonton Oilers didn't go out and try to get him. Obviously, they're trying to save money so that they can move, or so that they can re-sign Evan Bouchard. But still, if you want to keep Connor McDavid around in those colors, they need to shore up the goaltending. So, yeah. Big one that happened a few days ago here. One that was a little bit jarring for Canucks fans. Wasn't too jarring for me, but definitely jarring for Canucks fans. To Vancouver, Evander Kane to the Oilers, a 4th round pick in this year's draft. Big thing there, no salary retained for Evander Kane. So that's a big win for the Oilers. Obviously, Vancouver is in desperate need of top 6 help coming into this year. They will be losing Pia Suter down the middle, and they will be losing Brock Besser on the wing. There is some chance, a very slight chance, but some chance that Vancouver Canucks are able to re-sign both Besser and Suter, either in free agency or today. I guess it would have to be today. How likely that is, very unlikely. I don't think Brock Besser wants to stick around in Vancouver, and I think Suter could be heavily overpaid in free agency this year. Regardless, Evander Kane has shown to be a useful player in the NHL, especially for Edmonton. Obviously didn't play a game at all last season. That being said, did return for the playoffs, played 21 games in the playoffs for the Oilers, had 6 goals, 6 assists for 12 points. He's a big body. He can protect players. He's still shown, obviously not last year, but the year before, that he can score. He's got underrated skill, in my opinion, for the type of player he is. His issue is just staying healthy. If he can't stay healthy for the Canucks, then this may end up looking like a massive, massive, massive mistake, in my opinion. 33 years of age, he's 6'2", 218. Obviously, we all know he's a big body. His issue has always been in the locker room. With the recent, or I guess relatively recent, trade of JT Miller via more than likely locker room issues, it's a little bit confusing to pick up a guy that has had locker room issues for his entire career in Evander Kane. But regardless, we'll see how it works. It was a pretty low-risk signing, a little bit different than the Vladimir Terasenko signing, in my opinion. It's pretty low risk. Could end up being a high reward if he can get back to a 50-plus point pace in the regular season along with physicality. It could end up looking pretty good. So, yeah, he's making $5.125 million this year. He's going to be on year 4 of 4. His contract will expire at the end of the year, so pretty low risk for Vancouver. Vancouver does not have a lot of cap space. They got $7 million, and they need to get a top 6 center. They need to get a top 6 winger, more than likely. There's rumors out there about them acquiring Bowen Byram. I like Bowen Byram. I don't think they need a defenseman. I think they need top 6 help. Obviously, Abbotsford Canucks won the Calder Cup this past year. There's some thoughts that some of those guys are going to be able to move up into the big team and do something. Top 6 help. I don't know. I really think they acquire a top 6 guy if somebody from the AHL pushes a top 6 guy out of a top 6 slot that is far better. You trade for a guy that could play middle 6, top 9, somewhere in there, and if he gets pushed down to the third line, so be it. That way you have some reassurance that you do still have top 6 help if the AHL guys don't work out. But a decent amount of cap space. It looks like a lot, but they need to make a lot of work, and they also need to make sure that Quinn Hughes is happy and will stay. Along with Evander Kane, he was jumped last night. Vancouver, what the fuck? He was jumped in Vancouver last night. He needed medical attention. He's doing fine now, which is good. A video of the incident has been released. I'm not going to show that video, obviously. Showing he did nothing wrong. His friends were being held back from helping. Kane was minding his own business. I don't know where he was attacked. Not good. He played for the Vancouver Giants. He is somebody that wanted to come and play for Vancouver. He was born in Vancouver. He has liked the Vancouver Canucks his entire childhood. He wanted to be traded to Vancouver, and he comes to Vancouver and then immediately gets jumped. Not good at all. That is pretty disgusting. I hope whoever did that gets arrested. It's just, as Ilya Bryzgalov said, it's just a game. Why you have to be mad? It is just hockey. Nobody needs to be upset about a player coming by. It doesn't matter. He's a good player. He seems like a decent guy. Anyways, hopefully we can figure that out. I live in BC, and that's not a great look at all. Regardless, so Mitchell Marner. Mitchell Marner. He is a good player. We all know he's a good player. He does not want to stick around for Toronto. We all know he doesn't want to stick around and play for Toronto. Last year, 81 games played, 27 goals, 75 assists for 102 points. In the playoffs, 13 games played, 2 goals, 11 assists, 13 points. Wasn't as much of a disappearance as he was years prior. That being said, he didn't get a lot of points in the Florida series. Most of those points came from the Senators series. So there's some rumors that he's going to be going to Vegas, and not in the legal fashion that we all hope for. So this is basically the tampering penalties. So teams will pay a up to $5 million fine. There will be a termination of any contract that has been signed that has shown that there is tampering. So basically what that means, if Vegas comes out July 1st, signs Mitch Marner to a $10.5 million deal, because it's Vegas, why not? And there's all these random stipulations involved, and it seems like a contract that was talked about well before July 1st. If Tree Living and the Toronto Maple Leafs say, hey, this looks like it could be tampering, can somebody check this out? There will be a internal investigation done. Or not internal, a investigation done by the NHL internally on Vegas. If there is anything that shows that there was tampering, so basically if there's anything that shows that the Vegas Golden Knights were talking to Mitch Marner before July 1st, that contract could be terminated. A lot of people get confused thinking, oh, Mitch Marner's not even a part of the Leafs anymore. Until July 1st, he is still property of the Toronto Maple Leafs. After July 1st rolls around and ends, he will no longer be part of the Toronto Maple Leafs organization. But until that point, he is still property of the Toronto Maple Leafs. He was not given, or the Vegas Golden Knights were not given permission to talk contract with Mitch Marner. So this could be a pretty big deal. Forfeit of draft picks, more than likely a first, maybe a couple first this year, first next year, maybe a couple seconds, who knows. Awarding draft picks and or cash to offended club. So that means that Toronto would then get those draft picks. Sounds pretty good if you're a Toronto fan. The individuals that are shown to have been okay with this whole shit show will be fined up to $1 million and or suspended or expelled from the NHL. Mitch Marner is not going to get expelled from the NHL. He's not going to be booted out of the NHL. It's not going to happen. Suspension, though, wouldn't be shocked. Pretty crazy thing. Obviously, the Vegas Golden Knights have already started moving out players to make sure that they have enough cap space for this. So Nic Hague, who is a pending RFA, has been qualified for RFA, has been traded to the Predators for, or along with a third for Jeremy Lauzon and Colton Sissons. Both guys, I think, Lauzon makes $2 million, Colton Sissons makes like $1.3 million. So keep a little bit of cap space there. Along with that, all of a sudden, good old Vegas, eh? All of a sudden, Alex Petrangelo is dealing with serious injuries and will require multiple major surgeries this summer, which will result in him missing the entirety of the 24-26 season at least. So that takes $8.5 million off the books. Now, for people that haven't seen the recent CBA negotiations, the LTIR loophole will be closed by the end of next year. Not next year, the end of next year. So Vegas can still get away with this whole LTIR thing. This year, next year, no. But this year, with Mitch Marner, you all of a sudden get Petrangelo back for the playoffs. Is that actually what they're trying to do? Who knows? Is it a little bit like, they've done this a few times. It's more than likely it's happening. Yeah, probably. I think Vegas is trying to do some shenanigans. So, Vegas. It's such a slimy organization. Anyways, so currently they only have $2.1 million in cap space. You take Petrangelo off the books, making $8.8 million. Now all of a sudden you have $11 million in cap space. You're looking pretty decent to be able to sign Mitch Marner with a bunch of bonuses and deferred salary, because deferred salary is going away at the end of next year, yada, yada, yada. Yeah, I'm very curious to see what happens here. This could end up being a very, very, very large story from here on out. If somehow magically Vegas signs Marner to a $10.5 million salary immediately as soon as July 1st starts, and there's all these crazy things attached to his contract that could have never, ever, ever been done in like a day, with him speaking to, or with Jim Nill speaking to agents, and that's just it's insanity. It is insanity. Very curious to see what happens if that contract is canceled, and Toronto Maple Leafs get a couple first round picks out of it, and Marner ends up having to sign with another team anyways. Oh man, this could be crazy. Okay, so nothing else too crazy has come out. I just wanted to see if any other things have come out, but nothing else too crazy. Other than the fact that the Canucks and goaltender Thatcher Demco are closing in on a contract extension that will keep him in Vancouver, coming from Frank Saravalli. Demko is eligible to sign an extension as soon as tomorrow, and it sounds like that will indeed happen. So Demko is currently under contract for the remainder of next season. Just humor me here. And yeah, the Canucks have a lot of goalies, and they are paying goalies a lot of money. It's a little bit, it's interesting, especially since Artur Shilov's just won the Calder Cup for the Abbotsford Canucks, and looks like he's ready to go. It looks like he's ready to take the reins and either be a backup or even a starter in the NHL. Now all of a sudden we have Lankinen signed up until 2029, 2030, and now we've got Demko for however long we keep him. Is Shilov's going to be traded out? What do they get for Shilov's? Oliver Ekman-Larsson is getting paid a lot of money via the buyout, so the Canucks are losing money on that. There's a lot of weird things happening with the Canucks right now. They're going to be paying a lot of money to 3 goalies or 2 goalies plus another goalie that could easily still come out and, be a backup. Do they trade Lankinen? I think that's probably your best bet. I wouldn't trade Shilov's. I've seen this too many times where you trade a young goalie that has done well and they end up being a great goalie in the future. We'll see. Thatcher Demko this season, injury-riddled season, only played 23 games, had an .889 save percentage. That save percentage looks very low, obviously. At the start of the year, Demko was struggling heavily. And then it came out that, yes, he was indeed injured. Over the latter half of the season, he came back, looked good, and then was injured again. I hope they don't sign him to a massive ticket. I like Thatcher Demko. He is a top 3 favorite goalie of mine in the NHL. I'd love to see him stick around in Vancouver. Is this the right time to keep him around in Vancouver? Probably not. So we will have to see what happens there. Currently, goaltending for the Canucks is 10% of their cap. They're paying a lot of money to goalies, and they're going to have to look at Quinn Hughes soon. I want to think that Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin are doing the right thing for the cap. Staying under the cap, being able to have enough money to re-sign Quinn Hughes, being able to do all these great things. Do I trust that that's actually the case? Not really. They need centers. They need because Philip Hedl, he can be a 2C. Ideally, he's a third-line center. He can be a 2C. He's just not healthy. And if Hedl's your 2C, who's your 3C? Is it Teddy Bluger? Do you hope that one of the young guys from the AHL comes up and is able to play 3C? Guys like Atu Ratu. Do you hope that Lekaramaki can come into the NHL this year and play top-line minutes with Elias Pettersson? Do you hope Neil Hoglander comes up and can play in the top 6, play a regular role, can be actually impactful in that top 6? Who knows? There's a lot of what ifs. There's a lot of question marks for this team. It's a little worrying. We will have to see. But either way, I'm going to be making videos more than likely all day. If anything else happens, I will be back and I will post another video. Until then, though, yeah, let me know what you think about the whole Marner thing. Do you think there's some shenanigans going on in the background? Let me know what you think about the Vancouver Canucks, whether or not this is actually a good idea for them to have so much salary on the books for goalies. What goalie they should move out if they do end up re-signing Thatcher Demco. Will it be Lankinen? Will it be Shields? Will they just keep all three? Who knows? That Machelli trade, let me know what you think about that. I'm actually pretty excited about that. I think they're going to do very well. Either way, take care. See you soon.